Tonight we taste 2018, and is a vintage quite particular because 18 is a very elegant vintage, not only for white but also for red. What are the characteristics of the vintage 2018? 2018 is characterized from a very long winter. We have a lot of rainstorm during the spring, and that caused a very long vegetative process of the vines that extends until October, when we pick the grape. So this is a very later harvest. We pick the grape around 10, 12 October. The later harvests are my favorite always, because the later harvest show always the more complexity than the earlier harvest. In fact, tonight we taste also 14, Barbaresco Bordini 14 and the Ravera 2014. That are other later harvests, more challenging vintage, but with great result, in my opinion, in the end. So do you want to try the wines, or we want to explain a little bit more the philosophy of the winery?
I think let's try the wine. Let's go and try the first wine and have a little chat of the wine.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thirsty.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. It's got a lovely colour to it and a beautifully floral nose.
Yeah, I can see this is golden color, quite pronounced, because we make a little bit of cold maceration. We press the grape and put in a tank with the juice and keep at 12 Celsius degree for 24 hours, and then we rack in another tank where we start the fermentation. For this reason, we have increased with this maceration, we increase the smell, the complexity of the smell. The characteristic of Nascetta 18 is the floral character. I feel a lot of white flowers, a little bit exotic fruit too. And it's a wine very fresh, a wine that can age other 10 years, no problem. It's a wine that initially the wine show more Mediterranean character when it's young, in the young years, in the beginning of when we release the wine, and later the wine became more savory character and minerality that seems to drink a little bit of Chenin Blanc, or depends on the vintage, of course, but you find some character of Chenin Blanc, a little bit of Riesling, because you find also pineapple notes.
If I may say, it seems to me that on the aromatic profile, it's a bit like a Viognier. You said it's very mineral, but at the same time, you have that very strong sort of apricot and pineapple smell. Yeah. Which is reminiscent of a Viognier, but without the same texture, obviously.
Yeah, that is true. Some vintages show Viognier character too. This is absolutely true. Because you feel this character of pineapple and apricot too, yes. But this is a wine that have a great evolution in the glass. It's not a wine, maybe you taste this wine in another year, you find another characteristic, because it's a very complex white wine, really. Otherwise, we cannot spend a lot of this time on this white wine. I am so proud about this white that we continue to increase the effort to increase the quality, to improve the quality. This is not aged, this Nascetta don't age in wood, only stainless steel. okay? And make a long lease, around 180 days on the lease. That shows this creaminess in the taste, you know, because the acidity is not too high, but feel this savory and this salinity that show this beautiful aftertaste. Clean your mouth and you want to retaste this wine. Okay? It's important, don't drink too cold, okay? This is very important. For me, the right temperature about this wine is 12 degrees, okay? 12 Celsius degree.
Valter, do you have a perfect food pairing with this?
Yeah, this is very flexible and wine about pairing food because it's not a wine only for fish, of course, but it's a wine also for white meat, vegetables grilled. I love tempura vegetables with this wine. I love tuna. Tuna tartare is fantastic. But also vegetables grilled, also flowering zucchini, for example, in tempura is amazing. Shrimps is beautiful too. But I love also white meat, okay? Also rich food. And beautiful also with fresh cheese, very milky cheese like burrata, okay? This is a fantastic match with this food.
And a more technical question, is there any malolactic fermentation? Does it go through malolactic fermentation at all?
This wine is without malolactic fermentation, no malolactic fermentation. In the beginning of our history, we made Nascetta with the malolactic fermentation, but then we changed because I want to preserve the acidity. I love the acidity in the white, so I like the freshness. And in fact, we improve again our style in 2019 that nobody has the possibility to taste, unfortunately for you, but I hope you can taste soon. 19, for example, I changed a little bit the method of vinification. We fermented partially in cold maceration and partially in cold stabulation. What is the difference? Cold maceration is like 18, okay? This is 100%. Cold stabulation, what means? We crash the grape, take only the juice, put in a tank, and keep 10 days, full tank, for don't have any oxidation, at 3-4 Celsius degree. And every day we make batonnage. In this way, what is the difference between cold maceration and cold stabulation? That in the cold stabulation, we don't have precipitation of the acidity. Because during cold maceration, we have salification of the acidity. That is the problem. For this reason, with the cold stabulation, the acidity is keep higher. Mm-hmm. In fact, in 2018, I have around 6.5% for 1,000 of acidity. And then we put in a large barrel and fermented in large barrel. It's Lavogna Hook, 30%.
Okay.
Okay.
Valter, I think we should move on to the reds because I know that many of us are itching to taste them and hear you talk of the hillside and the Nebbiolo grape variety. So that was delicious and a lovely way to try your wines. But let's start talking of the 14 vintage.
Just another 2 words about this wine. Sorry, because I'm very passionate. So this is a wine really for food. Is a wine better with food than like aperitif, for example, my opinion. Okay. Enjoy. Then we move forward, okay, with the Barbaresco, right?
Yes. So I think the thinking here was 2014s, a vintage that shows real finesse and elegance. And I know they're very young wines, but well, I'm finding them a pleasure to drink at this stage. Is that something that you found as well, or do you think they're too young to approach the 14s now?
About Nebbiolo, I have a very strange idea, maybe for you, I don't know, but I love the fresh Nebbiolo. I love the fresh Barolo. I don't love the tired wines, okay? I want to taste wine with a lot of primary aromas. I love that. I don't like the wine that feel a little bit evolved in the glass, especially when it's so young. Now we taste in 2014. We released this wine 2 years ago. I love 2014 vintage. Everybody of you knows that, and I don't change my idea absolutely. No, every time that I taste this wine, I love always more. Barbaresco for 2014. Barbaresco is our small dream when we decide to make Barbaresco, because we are in Barolo area, and as you know, for the Barolo producer, it's impossible to produce Barbaresco in this area. So, but because by law we cannot vinify here. Only some winery can do that for old license. But normally, mostly of Barbaresco producer want to make Barolo because they consider Barolo like a king of the wine, and normally not the opposite. But for Elvio Cogno, Barbaresco was a great wine, and I would like also to make a new dream to make this wine. And in 2006, we rent 2 hectares of Barbaresco in Bordini. Bordini is the cru. This cru is in the Neve. As you know, there are three communes in Barbaresco area. We have Neve, Barbaresco, and Treviso. Neve is the commune that mostly get wines with more finesse, more elegance. So the wine that I love. And Bordini is a cru, very beautiful cru, with more sand than in Treviso or in Barbaresco. And the exposure of this cru is around southeast. Okay. I produce around 10,000 bottles every year of this wine. And this is a very traditional Barbaresco, because aged 15 months in large barrel, Slavonia hook, big cask, not barrique, because I don't like too hooky wine. For this reason, you feel this wine is so fresh, because we want to maintain the freshness, the energy. And the 2014 is a challenge vintage, mostly in Barolo than in Barbaresco. Barbaresco was a little bit easier to manage the vintage 14, because the climate condition in Barbaresco is a little bit warmer than in Barolo. Barbaresco, normally we pick the grape in the end of September, and we picked 14 Bordini in end of September, beginning of October, 1st or 2nd day of October. And the Barolo, we picked the grape 10, Barolo 10, 12 October, in this time. So there is 10 days, 12 days, normally are 2 weeks, the difference. Because the climate of the Barbaresco is warmer and more sandy soil, less limestone, is less alkaline soil. Okay, we taste now Barbaresco. You feel the immediate what is the immediate flavor that you find? Small red fruit and a touch of spice, of course, spicy. And you feel a little bit the greener, not greener, the greener character, but the greener fruit. A little bit. This show this beautiful aftertaste. It became a very quenching, thirsty wine. The tannins are quite smooth. You feel the tannins, it's young, of course, but it's very, very fresh. It's a wine that you can drink with a lower temperature, around 14 degrees. For me, it's beautiful.
Valter, I'll just underscore that. I think I've already jumped and tried the Barolo as well. Both these 14s are beautiful. I mean, really beautiful. And I agree with you. You get plenty of pleasure drinking them at this young stage, just full of vibrancy and purity of fruit. And I'm going to struggle not to finish both bottles. This could be a fun evening.
We cheated a bit, so we had one glass of the Barbaresco an hour ago with the cigar, and it was so good. It was absolutely perfect with a Davidoff #2. So I can recommend that.
I love cigar. I am sorry because I love cigars. In this quarantine I smoke Cohiba often, so with the wines too. I take a little bit some kilos during this COVID.
Valter, back to the questions. Do you practice organic or biodynamic viticulture?
So we started working already 10 years ago about organic way. Of course, we are not certified yet because the problem is that our neighbor are sometimes are certified organic, and so we need to keep separated the border, the border of the grape. That caused me a lot of problems. Anyway, I am concentrated to follow this process in the years, because already 10 years ago we started to don't use any herbicide, any chemical process, and any chemical poisons. Because we live in the middle of the winter, I want to preserve my health. This is most important of the market. The commercial aspect, I don't follow that. I have seen that became organic, we produce better wines. This is absolutely true, but it needs time, because the vines don't respond immediately when we change to the normal practice to organic practice. Needs time because the vines became stronger and became more produce less quantity themselves without any stronger green harvest. And so the wines became more balanced, became more the fusion of the components is absolutely better. So for me, this is the future about the viticulture, and I have seen that the vines respond always better and became stronger to the disease every year. Also in difficult vintage as 14, and 14 is the typical example that we have in the glass, that in a challenge vintage that everybody say, this is a difficult vintage, this is not good wine. Many people don't want to buy 14. That is a big mistake, in my opinion, because this is a wine so complex, and if you taste, the smell is so deep, but when you taste, refresh your mouth. It's full of energy, this vintage.
Valter, I think that the general thinking of the vintage, it's a very good Barbaresco vintage, but less good Barolo vintage. I know we haven't started talking about the Barolo yet, but what I'm so surprised at is how wonderful the Barolo is showing today.
Yeah, Ravera is the true that after this vintage, I am absolutely sure of the result that we can get here. Before this vintage, maybe I can have a little bit, not sure that every year we can do a great wine, but this is a vintage that showed me really the potential of this group. Because this is a vintage very complicated. We make a very great selection in the vineyards, and I didn't produce in 2014 the base wine. I produced only the cru, the top wines. And because I love this style wine, I love this elegance, the finesse, the character of a little bit Pinot Noir character of this wine.
Yes.
And I love Pinot Noir too, and I am working with you that you are one of the most prestigious importer of Pinot Noir from Bourgogne, and this is a wine that 14 Ravera can compare with beautiful Bourgogne wines.
I couldn't agree more. I think it very much appeals to a Burgundian lover's palate. Yeah. Jason?
Barolo has tannins. It's not like Pinot Noir, but in 14 that is a little bit cooler vintage than, for example, 2017 or 2011. So that is more riper vintage. In this vintage, the Ravera show really the potential of this terroir. Terroir so with great personality, a very elegant, but one with complexity.
I'll just hand over, Jason. You've got a question there, Jason. You're unmuted.
Oh right, yeah. Valter, I was just wondering. Obviously, there was a bit of rain in Barolo in 2014. Did you have to do a lot of sorting in the vineyards of the grapes, and as a result, were the yields much lower than they would be normally?
I produce a lower quantity, of course. In 2014, I produce around 40% less than normal yield.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. Yeah.
45%. Yeah. But in other way, you cannot produce a wine like this. If you cannot very severe selection, you cannot do that.
It worked, that's for sure.
Yeah, you need to be, I was explained before, to be a good interpreter of the vintage. And now, after this experience with this vintage, this is my third 29 harvest now in 2018. And I have seen many different characteristics of the vintage. And 14 was the most challenge, but is a vintage that gave me a lot of satisfaction.
Let's talk of food matching again. Harry's asking, what would you pair with? Well, let's look at the Barbaresco perhaps to start with. What would you cook?
Barbaresco is the better wine with the truffles. Okay, so
truffles. Nice.
So I love tajarin. You know, tajarin is handmade egg and made pasta with a little bit butter and cover of truffle, and this wine is
and nothing else. Perfect.
Yes.
You
cannot ask nothing to God.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barolo. What is 14? Barbaresco is a wine so gentle. Is a wine so with finesse. Is not so heavy like Barbarolo. But this is represent very well the Elvio Cogno style. Touch of licorice character too. Barolo, I love, honestly, I love with many kinds of food. The meat, meat is beautiful. Steak. But I love also with the fish sometimes. You can, what really important for me, the temperature of service of the wines. Normally serve the white too cold and the red too hot everywhere. And I am quite angry about that because I don't want to feel the Barolo only the alcohol. So the temperature sometimes is too hot. I love 14, 16 Celsius degree, no more. because in 5 minutes in the glass, 10 minutes, the temperature is going up. So, and you enjoy also this wine with, also in the summer, no problem. With the tuna steak is fantastic too. No problem. And the seasoned cheese is great. And older Barolo, of course, you can smoke in front of a fireplace with the cigars, no problem. But now is a little bit young, and you feel the fruit, the red berry. This is a typical red vintage, because there is red, blue, and black. You know, probably I already explained. This is different vintages, and this is the result on the wines. This is a red vintage because you feel this red small berry as a roseberry, wild strawberry a little bit initially, and then of course we have a spicy character, cinnamon character a little bit. I am also, everybody has the wines in the glass?
Almost everyone, Valter. It's a fascinating comparison, these two 14s. Sarah's asking, where do you pitch 14 in the last sort of 10 years? Do you have a favorite vintage of the last 10 years?
For me, is 14 Barolo, especially Barolo, is a wine that ages really, really well. No problem. It seems to drink. For me, it's similar to 2008 vintage, but I prefer 14 in the end because it's more vibrant character. More. The tennis is okay. You feel the tennis, but the tennis don't disturb my mouth because take your center of the tongue, the palate. Is not clean your mouth, help to eat more and drink more. Because I don't love the wines that you taste one time and then you heavy. I cannot drink another glass. It's good, but I want wine that you finish the bottle. This is a wine that we want to do. That helps also for sell more wine, of course, but this is not the point, okay? Not the key.
And how would you compare it to the 16s, which have just been released? I know you're excited about the 16s.
Yeah, 16 is a wonderful vintage. Is probably the best Barolo that I produced until now, and because the season was unbelievable, the season, the weather, all conditions are perfect. But anyway, we picked the grape quite later. So I prepare here some notes for you, just for understand what's happening in the vintages, okay? When we picked the grape in different years. This is, for example, then you see also the global warming a little bit in this date of the harvest, okay? 91, we picked the grape 10 October. 92, 14 October. That was a difficult year, very, very difficult. 93, 15 October. Very difficult. Good vintage because we arrived from other very bad vintage, okay? In the 9 years, we have 2 vintages good only. But the first year that we picked earlier was 1997, that we picked 28th of September. Was very, very warm vintage. And many people and many journalists say this is the 100-point vintage. Not true, absolutely not true. The wines now need to drink. It's not a wine you can keep because the wine is quite tired already. Another great vintage then is 1999. We picked the grape 6th October. Another great vintage, 2014, 15 October. So very late, you see? Very late, yes. Then 2005, 10 October. 2006, 3 October. 2007, very warm vintage, 27 September. So again, another warmer vintage, okay? 2008, great. Another vintage that was a little bit, was not acclaimed from the critics initially. Now everybody wants, if we still have. We picked the 15 October 2008. 2009, another warm vintage, 7 October, quite warm vintage. 2010, 15 October, great vintage, okay. 11, warm vintage, 28 September, very warm vintage. 13, 18 October, one of the oldest, the later harvest that I picked. In fact, 13 is a very, very smooth, is a very complex, is a wine, power, and you can keep, of course, it's a very rich wine, is a black vintage. 14, 10 October, later. 15, 8 October. 16, 8 October. Anyway, 8 to 10, because needs, for pick all winners need around 4, 5, 6 days, okay? 17, 1st of October, another warm vintage.
And Valter, what are you doing to try to mitigate?
Sorry?
What are you doing to try to mitigate the warmer climate, the global warming? What can be done in the Ravera?
Everybody now is talking about global warming as it was a difficult time for the viticulture. That is not true, absolutely. Because if I consider the result that we get in the last 15 years, I love global warming. Every year it is much better wine. This is the point, because in the 90s when it's no global warming, or in the 80s, for example, I started to work in the vineyards with my father-in-law in 1985. So the first harvest was 1985 for me. And 85 was a beautiful year. Then 86, disaster, because it was a hail. 80% was completely gone, 80% of the production. Now, 87, bad vintage. 88, good, very good vintage. 89, very good, and 90, great. But I have every year 3, 4 years great in 10 years, okay? Now every year is beautiful. It's beautiful. And the vines adapted to the situation. Of course, we became also better viticulture. So we work in the better way now in the vineyards. We have more technology, we have more equipments. We increase also our possibility to work in better way.
And going back to an earlier question about how these 14s in particular will age. I know you said you like to drink them with they've got some energy. Do you think this wine will still be going strong in 10 years' time?
I love the young wines, okay? But forget what is my opinion, because I love the freshness. I love the wines that have a fruit. I don't like the tired wine, I explained before. I don't like the wines. But this is a wine that became better and better, in my opinion. In other 5 to 8 years, for me, became great, okay? For my side. Mm-hmm. But my opinion, for example, 2008 now is so beautiful now. And now we are in 2020, so 12 years after, okay? For me, it's perfect now to drink 2008. But it's a wine that also can go, depends how keep, of course. Now we are working with the DM cork and we are very, very happy. And the DM cork, initially, the wines are a little bit more close, are more tight. But in the years, you preserve the freshness with this kind of cork that we have.
Valter, I just love that Ravera 14. What's so special about the hillside behind you? And will you mention a little of the different wines you make from that hillside?
The characteristic of the Ravera is this beautiful microclimate, because the combination of microclimate and exposure get the result. Here we have Ravera is 380 meters above the sea level. That means it's quite a windy place. And you have a great scorch of temperature through night and day. And for this reason, the wine shows this minerality. Also became from a beautiful composition of the soil. It's limestone clay, not too much sand. It's a white soil, okay? It's a white soil. And here we don't have any problem of hydric stress into the vines. Also in the warmer vintage, because the soil is very deep. Okay, the clay is very deep. Okay, and here in summertime you have 35 degrees during the day, and the night you arrive at 20, for example. That means 15 degrees of the temperature excursion. That is a magic place for that.
And you
for example, you go in Barolo, that is 200 meters above the sea level. The microclimate is completely different. It's warmer. Is more close because it's in a valley. We are on the top of the hill here. And during the global warming, probably this helps to get better wine. Probably helps to become Ravera beautiful. But this is was my initial problem, that we are favorite only in the warmer vintage. But after 14, I have seen that the result is not true, because this is not a warmer vintage, this is a very cooler vintage. And you had a wine like this, that is beautiful for me, and I feel me very strong now.
And Valter, could you mention for a moment the other two smaller cru wines you make from the hillside, the Vina Elena, which is a magical wine made in tiny quantities. And
so yeah, our project is to produce 4 Barolo that come from the same cru. That is very challenging project, because it's mostly Burgundy style, because we want to show the different characteristics of the plots, the single plots. And we probably are the unique producer that we are working with 3 clones of the Nebbiolo, because Nebbiolo is the variety, but the sub-variety is Lampia, Michete, and Rosé. That are the sub-variety. And we are the unique producer that produce Vigna Elena, is Barolo Vigna Elena with 100% Rosé clone. That is completely different. It's more finesse, more flower, rose flowers, character, and is more finesse. But probably is not the one that aged better of all our lineup, Barolo lineup, but is a wine that has a great character and very seductive wine. And then we have Ravera, is a blend that you taste now, is a blend Lampia and Michete. 60% Lampia, 40% Michete. And then you have a Bricco Pernice, another Barolo, that is come from the core of the Ravera, is the best place, the best seat of Ravera. These 2 hectares, that is 100% Lampia. These last 2, Barolo Vigna Elena and Barolo Bricco Pernice, aged 36 months in wood, 1 year more than Ravera. Ravera aged 24 months in large barrel, and fermented in stainless steel for 40-50 days. It's a very, very long maceration. That is a very traditional style Barolo. And when we spoke with many people in past, when we say, long fermentation means hard wines, tannic wines, austere wines. Not true. Long fermentation, this is an example, means elegant, less tannins, wines with very vibrant character.
I'm going to jump in again about another question from from Jason Haynes, senior man at Stanley Wine. Are we entering the golden age for Piedmont? There's a feeling that Piedmont is where Burgundy was 15 years ago. Lots of energy, dynamic young producers with even better wines and rising vineyard prices. Have you seen vineyard prices going up the last 10 years? And do you feel that we are now in a golden era for the region?
Piedmont in these last years is living a magic time, a fantastic magic moment for us, because we are producing wines that are under the radar of all great wine lover and all great consumer of great wines, and that is because of our new vision and our new way to promote the wines, but also for the new quality producer that is coming in the last 15 years. Okay, in the beginning of my career, I have seen producers that are too innovative, and the wines became too jammy, too heavy, maybe too international from my side. Okay, I am quite extremist producer about Barolo, and I am happy about that. I don't follow the market, I follow my instinct, and this is what I want to continue to do. And in the future, I have great wine in the cellar, and also I changed a little bit in the last years. I improved this extremist producer, making wines don't destem, whole cluster, 50%, 60% whole cluster. That is another big challenge for me. So in future, also you have a good opportunity to taste different wines, and probably I hope better wine than today. But step by step, I have an evolution too. I initially in 2017 I started to make whole cluster, but just 20%. In 2018, 40%. In 2018, 50%. So, and I am happy because I have seen wines with more finesse, with a great extraction of polyphenol, around 6,000 of polyphenol. Crazy, I never seen like this. But the wines don't show this, are not so tannic or undrinkable. The wines are always has a little bit more spicy character, a little bit more pepper notes, black pepper notes, more as the some Pinot in Bourgogne. Of course, not every year is the same, so we need to it's not we not follow a rule, you know. We need to see if we can do old cluster, longer fermentation, maybe 40 days, another year 50 days, depends. And it is very important to see the condition of the quality of the bunch of the grape.
Could I ask a question about the alcohol levels of both wines? I mean, this is a reasonably cool vintage, and yet I think both wines are at 14.5% alcohol. Is that something you're specifically targeting in terms of the rightness at the times of your pick, or is that something that you're particularly, is this your style, or could you talk us through that, please?
This is the result of many different situations. First, the global warming that increased the alcohol, and then the quantity that we produce for every vine, for each vines. So the production is around 6,000 kilo for hectare maximum. That means around 35-40 hectoliters per hectare. Okay, that is the maximum quantity that we can produce. But the alcohol level is, I don't look too much that, because the alcohol level is sometimes could be a problem, but when the wine has a harmony, is harmonic, when the wine is balanced, don't care about that. I have wine that have 15% alcohol in some Barbera, for example, that you don't feel the alcohol. If you don't look the label, maybe you can say this is 12.5, 30% alcohol. So the balance, the harmony of the components get a result, but not. And there are wines that you have 12.5% alcohol that burn in your mouth sometimes. So that means the nature make the difference. So how the vines work that makes the results. Especially now that we are organic. Especially now that we are organic.
Valter, I missed a question earlier up from Ian about the corks. When and why did you move to the DM?
Yeah, because I am very, how say, stufo. I am in Italian. I don't know the English words. I cannot.
Stufo is tired. You've had enough.
Yeah, I don't want to find open bottles and find one bottle perfect, another bottle oxidated, another bottle tannic, green. So we have too much inconstant results. With the DM, all wines are the same, and I cannot see the quality and the great effort that I have done for make a wine and then for damage for a cork. Because the quality of the cork is every year is always up and down. We spend a lot of money, but you don't get any guarantee of the quality of the cork, of the natural cork. But the DM Origine, the last Ravera 14 is DM 30 Origine, is a fantastic cork. It's very expensive, very expensive. Very natural because we don't use any chemical components, and the wines. Every bottle that I open is perfect. And especially for you, for the consumer, when you buy a wine and spend a lot of money and open, and you say, "Oh, this wine is so why?" And that is not my fault, okay? It's fault of the cork. But in the end, on the label is brought my name, my brand, and I am the cause of this.
Valter, we've almost got to the hour, and it's rushed by in a flash. A couple of questions, if you can answer them as quickly as possible. From James, do you expect to continue focusing on single vineyard wines? Is that going forward? You'll still be making a Bricca Bonice and Vina Elena?
I continue in this way, yeah, absolutely. It is that is so difficult to taste. It's so difficult but so beautiful. Taste 4 Barolo that come from the same group with 4 different characters. That is magic again. And
a question from Daniel: is it a family business?
Yeah.
I think the answer is yes, very much so.
Family business for generation. My daughter will be the 5th, and I am a lucky guy because I married Nadia, and Elvio bring me in this world, and I love that. I love this work, and I really passionate. And this is my life, and I am so happy to follow the project of this family. Okay, and I am not. I still have other horizon to follow in the future. Of course, I feel a little bit. Sometimes I feel me tired, but I have still energy to looking for something new. but we never abandoned the tradition of the family. We never abandoned what I learned from the grandfather, from the Elvio, from the school that you cannot learn in university, but you can learn only working side by side with people that have experience that you realize year by year.
Well, Valter, thank you so much. It has been a joy to hear you talk of the wines. Right now, I know we would all love to be sat round that table with you. And I really honestly hope that we can do that soon. I'm thinking of a road trip down there, not too soon. I can't believe it. It's not a pipe dream to be driving across the continent and turning up in at the hillside and knocking on your door and coming to try some of these wines. It's such a joy. I'll say that there's a little bit of 14 we have left in stock, and we've still got stock of the beautiful 16s, which is...
Yeah, 16 is, one word about 16. This is a vintage that showed me 1978 a little bit. One of my favorite Barolo. It's not so far from 2014. Please don't think that 16 is completely different. The finesse and the elegance of the Ravera show also in 16. Just a little bit. The tannies are so fine and so complex wine, but the wine is very juicy, quite drinkable. It's different from 2010, for example. The 2010 is a beautiful vintage again, but 10 is a little bit more austere, okay, than 16. 16 is more finesse, more elegance, but wine with very deep, very quite dark color, but a wine with you can enjoy also now without any problem. Of course, Vigna Elena and Bricco Pernici are still young now, but we have time to enjoy next years, okay? Without this COVID time.
Well,
we are drinking more wine at home anyway during this quarantine. I think everybody drink more wine at home.
We all are. I'm unmuting everyone to say, so everyone can say thank you. But yes, this is. We found this in the Bird household. Every night's Friday night. Not every night is a Barolo Ravera night. But what a pleasure it is to have these three wines.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Grazie mille.
Yes.
Very much.
See you in London soon, and also in everybody comes again.
Show us the rooms.
Thank you.
Grazie.
Ciao ciao. 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 Ciao.
Yeah, exactly.
Like honestly, like everyone's doing great.
Yes.
And this is the most productive we've been.
Oh, what's the deluxe suite look like?
We're hiring people. We're growing.
Tom, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom. Martin, Louise, thank you very much. Anthony, thank you for joining. James, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for joining.
Really funny.
Goodbye, Tom. Nice to see you. Bye.
Nicolas, lovely to see you.
And Fina.
Can you send us the prices for the Barbaresco for 2016?
I will do. Yes.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
It's time to work.